Welcome to Reddit Reads r/ProRevenge. Our first Reddit post is from Bored Hope Worker. Was bored at work, so got a guy fired and possibly sent to prison for fraud. I work the night shift as a receptionist at a hotel in Norway, and most nights are spent watching Netflix playing games. Last summer was really slow, and I also worked a lot extra, so I ran out of stuff to watch and games to play. One night, I got a mail from Scooter. He wanted to book a room for almost 20 days. I just had to send him the price and confirmation that we had rooms available, and he would then send me his credit card info for me to pre-charge. Normally we just delete these kinds of mail, but I was bored out of my mind, so I responded with an offer for around 12 for the entire stay. Also made sure to inform him that he could cancel for free up until the day of arrival. This is probably the most common fraud attempt in the hotel travel industry. Unlike most businesses, we are able to charge credit debit cards with only the card number and expiry date. No need for a PIN code or other auth methods. Our software also allows us to deposit money directly to local and international bank accounts by using the card number. Because of this, shithids like Scooter will try to prepay with stolen skimmed cards, but then cancel the booking and asking us to refund the amount to a different card. A couple of hours after sending him the offer, he responded with a Visa number and told me to charge him as soon as possible. I checked the card with our validation software, and to my big surprise it did not belong to Scooter. If validation succeeds, it will return with the card owner's name 90 of the time. I sent him a new mail stating that the card was declined because of insufficient funds. He quickly replied and gave me a new card to try. Guess what? This one didn't belong to Scooter either. Wasn't even the same person as the first card. By checking the BIN codes, 6 first digits, I found which banks had issued the cards. Not even issued in the same country. My plan was to just call the banks and inform them of the attempted scam, but there were still several hours before I could go home, so I decided to fuck with Scooter a bit more. Sent him a reply that the second card went through and also the reference number for his stay at our hotel. As expected, a couple hours later, Scooter sent a mail canceling the order and asked if we could refund the money to a different card, as he had lost his wallet and deactivated the card he paid with. This card was issued from a Polish bank. Not sure why, but Polish bank accounts are often used by people who want to launder money from bitcoins and drugs. You can buy a legit card for around 500 that is registered to some gay girl in Poland from Darknet. At this point, Scooter were probably pretty happy about the twok he soon would receive. I replied that it was no problem for me to transfer to a different card as long as it was valid. How fun would it be to also cancel his own card so that he had to spend 500 for a new one? Not fun enough. In the last mail I wrote that he could send me the card number, but that our email server would go down for maintenance in a few minutes, so my boss would do it on Monday. It was now Saturday morning, so enough time for the charged bank to call us and reverse the transfer if he needed the money right away. I told him to call the hotel before I ended my shift, 700. He called almost immediately, and I wrote down the card number and his phone number. Told him I transferred the money and that it would be in his account by 1200. My shift ended, and I went home with all the info Scooter had provided. Wanted to see if I could find out who he was, and this idiot had an open Facebook profile that I found using his phone number. He even listed his address and employer. Looked a bit like the artist Scooter, but with even more fucked up face and spiky hair full of gel. He lived somewhere outside of London, in an area I would describe as a British trailer park. Houses that were nice at some point, but where the owners had spent zero on maintenance since it was built. Thrash everywhere and broken windows that were boarded up or fixed by ceiling holes with garbage. Now to the fun part. According to his FB profile, Scooter worked at a hotel This meant that he would have access to card information from guests that booked through sites like Booking.com. I called the manager of the hotel and told him there were reason to believe that one of his employees were trying to commit, gave him the name of the people who owned the cards Scooter tried to pay with, and to no surprise both had stayed at the hotel. Told him it was Scooter, and the manager just exploded in anger. Not 100% sure what he said because he was screaming so loud, but I think Scooter wasn't a normal employee. He worked there through some kind of government training program or something. After talking to the manager, I called both Visa and MasterCard International and told them about Scooter's little business venture. Apparently, it's pretty easy to check if there are more cards that have been involved in fraud where the cards also have been used at Hotel Scooter. With his Polish deposit account info, they would also be able to pin it on Scooter if he had been successful in scamming anyone and sue him for the amount stolen. The police also called me later to get a statement regarding the whole situation. Not sure what happened to Scooter, but according to his Facebook profile, he no longer works at the hotel or anywhere else as far as I can see. This comment is from Ursus Maritimus. True MVP? This comment is from Not a Chica Cunt. Yeah, Scooter seems like a real cunt. This comment is from a Max4. For me it was Diablo III, but now it's Fallout New Vegas edit. I meant Diablo II. I have it on my hackbook at work, but have III at home also on my Hackintosh. I figure I'll give up at the second level boss. Now a word from today's sponsor. Make sure to donate to my Patreon down in the description below to get early access to videos, participate in special patron-only events, and other goodies. Any amount of money is greatly appreciated. It makes it easier for me to make the content that I love making, and I know you guys love too. Now back to the video. Our next Reddit post is from Cherok. Ek chops down my tree costs her 500,000, 700,000. It's been 2 years and I can finally post about this. This is juicy, so get ready. Background information: we live in an old and big manor that has been split into 3 attached houses. The houses are about 150 years old and were built around 5 huge giant sequoias, which were about 200 years old. In the UK, giant sequoias are very rare, and the 2 in our garden up the house price by about 60,000. We lived next to 2 really nice neighbors, one young couple and one old couple. The story: unfortunately, our old neighbors passed away, so their child and her family moved in. Let's call her Jo. Jo was instantly a pain in the ass. We had been sharing chickens with the previous neighbors, and Jo agreed to keep sharing them, however, on her nights. One night her little brats thought it would be funny to open our personal duck pen in the night, which leads to a mass slaughter. Later the chickens went the same way. About 2 years ago there was a storm, and one of her sequoias somehow fell over and died. They were distraught, understandably, but from then on the jealousy started. She would constantly complain about how lucky we were to have 2 sequoias in our garden, and how our sequoia was making too much shade in their garden. It wasn't anyway. We just thought it was Jo being a pain. Until we came back from a holiday to France to find a huge 6-meter stump and nothing else. I mean, how the fuck do you get rid of a 100th tree in like 2 weeks? 2 of our old British oak trees had been crushed as well. My mum and sisters were crying. My dad were red in the face, and we had no evidence Jo had done it. She claimed that there had been a storm, and she had to get rid of it. We had a security camera at the front of the house, but you can get in the back if you go through a few fields. We then were given an 8,000 bill for damages to her property, and to have the tree chopped up and removed. The wood alone would have been worth a small fortune. We had lost all hope, and 2 weeks had passed when my dad came running in from the garden. We had put up a wildlife camera a few months ago and had caught everything. We got a tree surgeon out who said it was an original specimen brought into the UK in 1860 along with the 2 that were in Elvaston Castle Country Park. Then we took Jo to court and sued them for damage to property trespassing and lots of other smaller claims. The tree would cost $250 to have another sequoia. That was 200 years put in and looked after. It's basically impossible, plus the damage to the foundation, which was 200, and the 2 oaks, which were another 25. So with the smaller claims it went to about 500,000, 700,000. They had to move out. And we have now paid off the mortgage, done a lovely loft and kitchen conversion, and have basically done up the house and garden, as well as plant a 60-year-old sequoia tree in the back garden. We also had our kitchen counter and table made from the old sequoia. We now have a new lovely family living next to us who we share chickens, ducks, and pygmy goats with. Their very nice, and I make a fortune babysitting their kids. Sorry for the essay. TLDR. New neighbors chop down original sequoia specimen, that 200-year-old, and is of the same tree as all to ones in every signal place of note in the UK. Ends up costing them 500,000, 700,000. I'm working on the spag, but I'm dyslexic. Please tell me where the errors are. Edit. Many of you wanted to hear about the court case, but she didn't stand a chance, and as soon as we revealed the footage to her and her lawyer, she gave up. The people who cut the tree down gave us the countertops for free as a sorry. They were truly sorry. The neighbors had a second home, so they just sold the house and moved back to their smaller one. We feel bad for the old neighbors, but we do visit their graves because they were like family. I can't show the footage of the wildlife cam, sorry, but I can show footage we got of hedgehogs. Link didn't know where to put it, so I put it on RawTups. Reddit. Kamral comments Sbedtaiha cut pure woldla fekameral support. Also there was a storm, but the sequoia was unharmed. That's what the video showed. This comment is from Classicwegda. Hot damn. Imagine being in debt for the rest of their lives because of jealousy. I assume they had to sell their house to pay it off. This comment is from Maywell Flower. Whether they sold or not to move out, have to admit that karmic justice hit them hard for destroying trees that wasn't even on their property. It was technically on Ops family property, not X, and then having the audacity to send Ops family a bill. That X thought her jealous was worth it until the court system stated otherwise and made her pay up. Edit. Who can blame Ops' father for doing happy dance in discovering that video? That Ek truly thought they got away with murder everything until that video showed up. This comment is from Strong Magambo. The entitlement of M is terrifying. And the cheek to stick you with a bill. Jesus Christ, lucky you had a wildlife camera. Presumably you could have found the tree surgeon they hired to do it and worked backwards from there, as I don't think regular kids could fell and remove 100 tons of sequoia in 2 weeks. That was Reddit Reads r/ProRevenge. If you like this content, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you are notified of new uploads. We upload new videos every day. Also subscribe to our Patreon, as that will help us a lot. See you next time.